Imagine living in a world where everyone looks, acts, and lives the same. Daring to be different is forbidden. But one woman decides to break free. Here's her story. In a small gray town controlled by a company called Standard Control, life followed a strict code. People looked the same, acted the same, and even dreamed the same. The rules were simple: don't stand out, don't question, and certainly don't try to be different. One young woman, let's call her Maria, worked for Standard Control in their main office. She was like everyone else: gray blazer, sleek low bun, and neutral expressions, but inside Maria felt an itch that she couldn't scratch, a voice she couldn't silence. Every morning, she'd drive the same car as her neighbors, sip the same bland coffee, and blend into the sea of sameness that filled her commute. She told herself this was normal, that this was just how things were. One day at work, something unusual happened. Maria's desk was positioned near a window, but she rarely looked out. It was just a view of the same gray streets. That morning, though, something caught her eye. A cardinal. Its fiery red feathers seemed to pulse with energy against the dull backdrop of her world. She couldn't take her eyes off of it. It was alive in a way that nothing else around her was. As she stared, lost in thought, the company intercom crackled to life. A chipper but robotic voice announced, "Attention employees, tonight is our annual Christmas party. Please join us as we celebrate another successful year of maintaining the standard." Maria's stomach sank. Maintaining the standard? It was all they ever celebrated. She glanced back at the cardinal, still perched confidently outside her window, as if daring her to see the world differently. That day, Maria began to notice things she hadn't before. On her way home, she observed how identical every car was on the road. Same model, same color, same speed. At the grocery store, every cart carried the same items: plain bread, unseasoned chicken, gray packaging. At one point, she stood frozen in an aisle, staring at a shelf of canned soup. "Why is it all the same?" she whispered. A nearby shopper gave her a look of disapproval, and Maria quickly lowered her gaze. She couldn't shake the unease growing in her chest. The cardinal's vibrant red seemed to haunt her thoughts. Was there more to life than this? Was it really so wrong to want something different? The next day at work, Maria couldn't focus. The cardinal's image played on repeat in her mind. That afternoon during her break, she wandered into town. She stepped into stores looking for something, anything, that might stand out. But every rack held identical clothing, every shelf the same dull products. Frustrated, Maria left empty-handed. As she walked back to work, her eyes were drawn to a splash of red in the distance. The cardinal. She followed it down a winding path to a small park. There, nestled in a berry bush, was the bird's nest. The berries were as vibrant as its feathers, a color so rich and bold that it almost seemed forbidden. Maria plucked a handful of berries, holding them carefully as she looked at the cardinal one last time. Its confidence was contagious. That evening, the office buzzed with preparations for the party. Employees filled into the meeting space, identical in their gray uniforms. The atmosphere was stiff as always. Maria, however, slipped away to the restroom. She pulled out the berries and began to work. Crushing them carefully, she created a makeshift lip color, deep, bold, and red as the cardinal's feathers. She looked in the mirror and paused. For the first time, she saw someone different looking back. Her long, curly hair, free from its bun, framed her face beautifully. Her heart pounded as the intercom announced, "All employees, please report to the meeting space for the Christmas celebration." Maria took a deep breath. "You can do this," she whispered. She thought of the birds soaring freely without fear. As Maria entered the room, the air shifted. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Whispers buzzed like static. CEO turned sharply, her face a mask of disapproval. "What is this?" she demanded, pointing at Maria. "Why would you break the rules?" Maria held her head high, though her heart raced. "Because I was created to be different," she said, her voice steady. "I was designed to be unique." The CEO laughed bitterly. "Unique? There's no place for uniqueness here." But Maria didn't falter. "That's where you're wrong," she said. "The world is full of color, if we just dare to see it." Her words resonated. Slowly, others began to loosen their ties, let down their hair, and even remove their blazers. One employee tore off their sleeves of her shirt. Another turned his jacket inside out. The room transformed, buzzing with energy as people embraced their individuality. The CEO, powerless to stop it, watched in disbelief. "You're ruining everything, she shouted. Maria smiled. No, she said, we're finally living. Maria's courage sparked a revolution, not just in her company, but in her entire town. People began to embrace who they truly were, unapologetically. What about you? What makes you unique? How do you embrace it? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for more inspiring stories during this week of my 12 Days of Shop Miss A series. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.